Okay, now I'm gonna show how to cut a laser key. These are laser keys. There's two types. Well, there's probably about 3 different types. This one is cut on the exterior. This is a Honda or an Acura type key. So this is a laser type. You'll see it's blocky like that. So it's gonna be cutting this portion right here. So this is a laser cut machine. Left side is where the customer's key goes. This, if you notice right here, there's a tracer right there. Might be able to see it better in the other video, but there's a tracer right here. And then this is the drill bit that is gonna cut the new blank laser key. Okay, so first off, you wanna take a tip stop. This tip stop, there's 2 sort of grooves right here. You put the tip stop at the far end one. And this is gonna stop the tip of the key so that they're both placed at the exact same distance or depth in. You'll notice there's a flat area on both sides of the jaw. It allows you to put the key in like that. You wanna make sure it is flat. So I'm putting pressure down that way to make sure it's flat like that. I take out the tip stop, I put it on this side, and then I do the exact same thing. Put pressure down, making sure that it is flat so when it cuts well. So always make sure you have your protective goggles on. Putting that on, make sure that you don't get any of the metal shavings in your eyes. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn on the machine and we're gonna start cutting the key. I start from the right and I go around this way. So we're doing counterclockwise. Start from the right, go to the left. And the reason why is because this is a type of key that based on the drill bit, it affects the cutting of the key. So I'll show you right now. I start at the left, I go around putting pressure down. You'll see my right hand right here, or my left hand right here. I'm putting pressure with my 2 fingers and I'm controlling it with my hand right here. The right side, I'm pushing pressure down. The tip stop is what's stopping it from going too far. And all I do is I take that tip stop, I'm really looking at this side, and I'm gonna trace around the key. Putting pressure down, not going too fast, not too slow. You do it too slow, you'll sort of not melt the metal, but it's not as clean of a cut. So I'm going through, cutting around, tracing it carefully, cleaning up this side. Go around carefully, I'm lifting off. I come in from the side, it makes it easier to cut. So I come in from the side, and I go down like that, making sure I cut that. I'm controlling a lot with the left hand, okay? So I cut around, tracing it. And then what I'll do is I'll clean it up. I'll go through it again just to make sure that I cut it well. Tracing over, make sure it's nice and clean. Before we flip it over, then cut on the other side. Okay, let the drill bit stop. Take out the key. I'm getting a flat file like this, and I'm just going to deburr this a bit on the edges just to clean it up. And I'll do some post cleanup afterwards as well. But we're just gonna clean it up like that. Okay, so now take a little, I have a paintbrush and I just dust off this side so we can make sure it goes on flat. We're flipping this over. And then we're gonna use that tip stop again, right here. Make sure it's nice and flat again. If not, it'll mess up the cut. Nice and flat, tightening it here, don't over tighten. Taking out the tip stop, and we're ready to cut the other side. I'm mainly looking at the left side. I'm looking at this side. Not too worried about this too much. I will look over a little bit, but I'm looking at the left side to make sure I'm tracing it well. Coming in from the side, there you go. Okay, now I'm going to trace over everything again, make sure it's nice and flat. One thing I would actually suggest is, in this instance, you notice that I only flipped over the right side. I only flipped over this key. And that's okay, that'll work. But if keys are really worn down, if the original key is really worn down, what you want to do is flip over both sides. It's the same cut, but if one side is worn down more than the other, it could affect how the key is, just how smooth it is. So just tracing over one more time, just to make sure it's nice and clean. And it looks pretty good. Okay, wait till the drill bit stops, take this out. I'm gonna clean this and deburr it just manually with my hand. The edges right here is sort of what I'm looking at, and I wanna clean that up. You'll also clean it up a little bit once you insert this key into the actual ignition itself. And I'll show you how to do that. You'll notice on the sides, because you deburr it, there's a lot of metal shavings. So I angle it, so I try to take that angle down a little bit, just so it's not so sharp anymore, so it's a little smoother. Most of the times you'll make adjustments on this side and this side because of, once you cut it, it almost flares it out a little bit because of the shavings. So now I do the angles, the edges, and then I'm gonna flatten down the sides a bit. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it outside, we're gonna test fit it into the customer's doorway, and then also the ignition to make sure it goes in smoothly and it functions just like an original key. Feels pretty smooth, and we're gonna go outside now and we're gonna test fit it into the car, and we'll make any other adjustments that we need. I'll take a little file with me as well, just so that it's a smoother and easier process. Since I already have it on me, I can make adjustments on the fly. But most of the adjustments you'll make is actually on these two sides right here. But you want to keep it nice and pretty looking. Don't scuff up this part or this side, just really taking off the metal shavings or deburring it on the side. All right, let's go outside.